to go ahead and get started. I know the girls are very excited back there, and Matt. Welcome. I'm Barb Barrows, Athletic Director, if you don't know who I am. And I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. This is a very special evening. And to start out with, I'd like to introduce to you our 2014 State Runner-Up Cheer Team. Come on in, ladies. Over here, yeah, that's fine. Perfect. Thank you. I know that y'all got seated nicely, but can we have y'all stand for the pledge, please? We're up here, we're little, but we is the American flag, so. Cheer team, if you'd like to start that off by starting that. Okay. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I want to start out tonight by first of all thanking Dr. Fuhrer. And where's Dr. Fuhrer? I think he's in the back there. And Mr. Perry. They spent a lot of time today transforming this room into what it is today, and it looks really awesome. Love the signage. Love the podium, the artwork up here, so they're just back there, but I want to thank them for the time that they spent in getting this room prepared for all of us tonight. So thank you. That was for you guys, so thanks. I also want to thank Lisa Trout. She's filming tonight, and she'll make that available on nequatv.org, so you can review it at a later time or offer it to some of your family members that were unable to attend this evening. Tonight we celebrate the success of our varsity cheer program and placing second place in the IHSA state tournament. I am very, As the athletic director, I'm very pleased to share with you that this is our 27th IHSA state trophy for the school and the very first for our cheer program. I also want to share a little piece of trivia with you. I think sometimes some high schools are known for strengths in one or two different sports areas, but I'm very proud to share with you that Neuqua Valley State trophies have been earned in 12 different sports, 6 boys and 6 girls, different sports. So obviously, if you're doing the math and there's 27th, you know that there's some duplicates there with different programs. So very proud of that. Very, very proud. Last Friday morning at our send-off breakfast, I shared with the girls something that stood out to me in my observations of them throughout the season. And that is the transition that they have made from last year to this year. And besides their obvious abilities and skills and stunting and tumbling and dance, what I noticed to be one of their strengths this year is their team chemistry. As a team, they've demonstrated mutual respect for each other, and true friendships have evolved throughout this last year. Coaches offer suggestions and help the stunting and trying to improve those skills, but team chemistry is just one thing that coaches really can't develop, and it's really up to the student athletes to work on that. And they absolutely have come through to that. They've come together for each other, and that's just proof of their accomplishments this year. I also want to congratulate our coaches and thank them for having the vision to be on the podium. I know we had this conversation last spring, and I heard very clearly, we want to be on the podium next year. And so thank you for your vision, thank you for your leadership, thank you for your motivation in getting this team together to get to the podium. So thank you. all of you sitting here, not only just our athletes and our coaches, but it's also the parents that have been involved here. And it takes all of us working together to have these successes and have these accomplishments. We have all together set the bar for the teams in the future and added to Neuqua Valley history of success. So congratulations to all of us in this room and all of you. Team, I congratulate each of you and recognize the hard work, the intense training that you have endured and achieved in your personal and team goals. You have represented Neuqua Valley High School in a very grand fashion. I'm very, very proud to serve you as the athletic director at Neuqua Valley. So thank you. At this time, I would like to bring up another great fan, Dr. McBride.
I am a cheer fan. I don't know how to score cheer, but I am a cheer fan. I brought my family down, and they really enjoyed. We were reminiscing about the pleasant country drive we had down on Saturday. It was awesome. Apparently, my wife was helping Kim White out with, describing my driving, which was outstanding. If you were in like the Grand Prix, I brought my precocious children down, and one of the funnier moments for me on Saturday was after everything was said and done and we were walking out and I had this around my neck. My oldest daughter, Sophie, looked at me and said, "Why did you get a medal? You didn't do anything." And I said, "You are absolutely correct, but maybe to give you a little explanation why the principal gets a medal. And for you young ladies, just to kind of give you a sense, and maybe it wraps up why we do this ceremony. In the IHSA, the quote-unquote the principal is technically the member, although it's really the athletic director who runs the show. But in my respect and in my role, what I really represent is I represent the school community, I represent your parents, and I represent your community. And ultimately what these things are all about, competitions, being in state tournaments, even just cheering on the floor, when you put a uniform on, is the greater understanding that you carry with you your community. And you don't just represent yourself, you represent your team, you represent your parents, you represent Naperville, you represent District 204, you represent 4,000 Neuqua Valley students and how we're thought about and how we're perceived and how people regard us. And so it gave me great pleasure to represent that. I'm merely a symbol in that regard and have that put around my neck on your behalf. Just like accepting this 27th trophy into our trophy cases accepts more than just a great performance on Saturday. Really what it does is it ices off the way that you've comported yourself, the way that you've represented your family and your community. And it really says you've represented the best, ultimately. And I actually explained that to my daughter, because quite actually, you might wonder, no offense to Matt, but you might wonder why I go to a lot of women's events and I have my kids with. The reason why is I want my daughters to see great women doing great things. And that's why. And how lucky am I that my daughters could see a team like you, like all of you, in a disciplined way achieve what you achieved. So thank you for, on behalf of the McBride family. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. A couple just perspectives on this team, and I really want to focus just my comments maybe a little bit on team. First, I'd like you to get your pens and your pencils and computers out, because I think we should start a movement. You should all write the Daily Herald. Now, kind of awesome, nice to be on the front page, that's really cool, right? Okay, front page, that's really fun. See more details on page 5, that's really awesome. But, can anybody help me out with the little error here?
Third place. Sports.
It's not in sports. It is not in sports. And they always put dance and they always put cheer on the front page like you're an activity. And I'm going to make the claim here why you should write the Daily Herald about team. First and foremost, I think you have to be more than an athlete in high school. And I am really proud, and I can't go all the way down the line because it would take too much time, but it makes me really proud that there's a member of this team who I nominated for Wildcat Pride because in a moment of emergency, she made a very tough call with another student and actually saved that student in a way from maybe a medical calamity. There's a member of this team who I've seen her more working with special needs students than I have at cheer, quite actually. There's a member of this team who I met sophomore year, walking down the hallway, wearing her Neuqua Valley cheer uniform, and do you know what we talked about? We didn't talk about cheer. She had in her hands a farewell to arms, and we talked about the ending of a farewell to arms and what happened to Catherine. We didn't talk about cheerleading. And I could go on with an example of every single one of you that you're more multidimensional than just athletics. Athletics are the thing you do to train your mind and your soul, but every single one of you is more than that. So that's an athlete. You know, last year I was downstate with you. There's never a time that you perform that I don't think you're awesome. That's just the bottom line. I don't know enough, you know. I can't score the thing, you know. I don't know. I just think you're awesome. But I did know this, and it broke my heart. You were disappointed, and a lot of the team members here were down there, and you were disappointed, and it wasn't what you wanted. And I've been around sports enough to know that for some teams, and when those team members return, it's a gloom that sticks with you, and it colors who your team is and who you are, and you just become, we're the people who made it to state, we're the people who made it to finals, we make it to the top 10, that's just, we're the almost team, right? I've seen more teams like that team than teams like you. But what I'm the most proud of is that at every level, every single one of these individuals, every person here from the coaches, straight down, they did what we really should do in life. Because sometimes we carry around that success is this straight path. You know, hey, I have some skill, and I go straight from here, using my skill, to success. You know, it's just point A to point B, and how awesome am I? But actually, that's the fake path of success. All the adults here know that the true path in parenting and their jobs and the lives that they've led has actually had a lot of downtimes, and maybe even more downtimes than uptimes. But then you look back on your life and you realize the downtimes are what made the uptimes, because you were a comeback artist. And all great people are comeback artists. All great people have failed. All great people fell short of their expectations, especially athletes. I actually think you become an athlete to go out and fail, to find out what your limits are, and then stretch yourself beyond those limits. And every person here adjusted in their own way, from leadership to hiring to digging deep and practicing, to say, hey, we're going to do this thing. And by the summer when you guys went to camp, you remember your camp? I remember your camp on Facebook. All right? I'm checking you out on Facebook. Were you having fun? Yeah. What was that summer spirit like? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. What was that summer spirit? Yeah, you had spirit. You were having fun. You were coming together as a team, and you took that all the way. So you were not the almost team. And that's what real athletes do. Real athletes have the courage to fail and stretch their limits and then rise. That's what real athletes do. Just like on Friday when you finished fifth, because in a whole season you never finished fifth in everything. Check? Yeah. So that had to knock you off your perch a little bit, right? You never finished fifth in everything. So that's when you find out who you are, right? Because that's when you really have to dig deep. And then you found out you were going to perform first. And that has all sorts of things too. Because you can be the team that your judges by 4:35 forgot about. You can be the team that goes out and you're super nervous. Or you can be the team that goes out and you cheer like your hair is on fire, and you threaten, intimidate, scare, and make sure that your opponents see you kill it. So you make them a little nervous because they don't know if they can top you. They got to top you. Did you see what Neuqua did? And you sear in the judge's mind the example that everybody has to rise up to. And you killed it. And I hope you felt that way when you were done. What a great thing to go from fifth to second. And I've been going down to that tournament for like 10 years now, and that almost never happens. Okay? I'm really proud of you as athletes, as young men and women, as representatives of our community. And you make my heart big because I know when we send you out into this world, it's going to be a better place. I really do hope what I tweeted out, you do. Find an individual time to thank these coaches. They have put their heart and soul into this thing. I am so blessed to work with people like Barb Barros and Dave Perry and Lance Fuhrer and Kathy Titcherball and Brandon McGee, who put their soul into this thing for you. So find an individual moment, you personally, to talk to these folks. I know you're probably already taking care of that, okay? And then also, I always say at moments like this, you know, thank your parents. Tell your parents you love them. It might be awkward. That's okay. Because you go out and then guess what? You become like me when I was 25 years old and I was like, golly Moses, my parents were right about everything. What a horrible feeling that was, you know? Okay? Don't wait. Don't be like me and wait to realize that, okay? Do it now because it really matters. I'm proud of you, I have confidence in you, and I trust all of you. And as always, go Wildcats. You bet. Thank you. And now, without further ado, I forgot my introduction. I got my Go Wildcats. So, head coach Kathy Titcherball. Could you give her a big round of applause?
All right, are you gonna start?
Hi, everybody. I know everybody thinks I'm like, oh, Brandon's crazy. Honestly, I'll tell you how I got here. Well, everybody knows, like, when T first started coaching here, and Miss Berner, who's in this crowd tonight, they came to a camp, and I was their camp instructor, and T was the assistant at the time, and that was the best team that Nequa had at the time. They actually got 5th that year, and I stayed in contact with T, and when she became the head, she would have me come in, like, before state and like work with the girls and blah, blah, blah. And I always said, like, I've worked with a lot of teams. Like, I've coached All-Star, I coached competitive, I coached at my old college, and I always said I would never coach high school cheerleading. The parents and kids would drive me crazy. No, I said that. I always said that. And sure enough, two of my good friends took me out to dinner last year for my birthday, and they're like, Brandon, you need to, we're talking about cheerleading, they're like, Brandon, you've done everything in cheerleading. You've been an instructor, you coach college, you've coached All-Star, but you've never coached high school, and I think it would just be so rewarding. You know, I'm like, I'm not coaching high school. I'm not going. And they're like, no. And then my friend Corey's like, Brandon, they're looking for a new assistant coach at Nequa, and that you fit right in. Like, if any team you'd be a part would be fit good in, it'd be Nequa. And I'm like, oh God, let me text T right now and see what she says. So it's like 3 o'clock in the morning at this time. So I text T like, hey T, I heard you might be looking for a new assistant coach. Just call me back if you think I'd be good at it or something. So the next day, T didn't call me back, and I call her again. I'm like, yeah, T, I want to be the assistant coach. She's like, really? She's like, well, Brandon, you know you got to do all this and all this and all this. I'm like, oh, I know. And I'm just like, T, no, I really want to do it. And she's like, okay. She goes, well, if you want to do it, Brandon, I know you. I don't want anybody else but you. So then I start getting all the paperwork. I interviewed with the next week with Miss Barrows. And when I left my interview, T looked at me. She's like, I can't believe you interviewed like that. You said all that stuff. And this is what in my interview, I wanted to just be myself. Honestly, I didn't want to be cheesy. You know, and honestly, in the interview, I didn't want to be cheesy. This is one thing, coaching for me is like an extracurricular activity. Like a lot of you guys know, like I live in Chicago, and every team that I've coached has been at least 45 minutes or an hour away from me. So for me to do it, I really need to do, I need to love it. Like, I don't do it for money. I do it because I want to see, when my kids are happy, it's the best feeling to me, honestly. And I wanted to be, upfront with Miss Barrows because I know how high school is. It's very strict. These kids are, they're our responsibility when they have us, seriously. So I know how, I just wanted to be honest, and I wanted to say, if I didn't want to come in I'm gonna be like Sally Sue. I'm like, Barb, I'm kind of hard as a coach. You might get a lot of complaints because I know I'm so controversial. No, I'm serious. I know I'm so controversial as a coach. I knew I was gonna want to come in and change a lot of things about it. And I wanted to say, if I can't. Oh, the lipstick was a big deal, I know. But I wanted to say, if I can't do it my way, it's not going to work. And if the people aren't going to be receptive, then this isn't going to work. But I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'm so thankful for Miss Barrows and T, giving me this opportunity. And I just want to say thank you to the kids and the parents for believing in me and, just being adaptive. Because when I first started, I'll tell you, when I came in the clinics, a lot of the girls were looking at me, and I'm like, oh, she won't try out. she won't be back. Yeah, sure enough, we lost her. But everybody came back and they gave me a chance, and I really want to say that means a lot to me from the bottom of my heart. The kids are good, and I want to say that they are some of the most humblest kids I've worked with. Like, these kids are amazing. Some of these kids have been on the best teams in Illinois as far as competitive cheer, and they gave up a lot of great opportunities, some of them, to be here. But they worked so hard for me and T. They never disrespected us, never talked back, and they never disrespected each other, and that's what came. Like, me and T coached them, and we taught the skill, but these kids were, like, you can't coach chemistry. I said that in my interview when they interviewed us after we had got second. You can't coach chemistry. One of our members, Brooke Kimmon, she's a freshman. She's the only girl here. She didn't go to junior high with any of these girls. She didn't know any of these people before she came to Nico, and she almost didn't try out. And Brooke her junior high was they were good. They're national champs. But Brooke came here, and she cried before sectionals. She told this team, she goes, I've won a lot of things in my life. It didn't matter. She goes, but I've never been a part of a team like this. I can honestly say that I love all of you guys. And for me as a coach, that means the world to me. Because I'm telling you, some of these kids, I'll be honest, some of these kids, they've won a lot of things in their lives, but they weren't happy. They didn't have fun doing it. And I'm a hard coach. I'm not a mean coach. Yes, I'm hard. Me and T got on them a lot. Some of them probably came home crying a lot. But my kids had fun. Yeah, they dropped that stunt at the football game. They ran. Guess what? They never dropped a stunt in competition. Everybody was so mad at me. Brandon, you're making them run in the cold. Guess what? They never dropped at a competition. No, I know I came in and everybody was kind of skeptical, and I did change a lot of things, and I want to say my best friend Robin's here too. You guys met Crazy Robin before. But no, when the day she judged our tryouts, she helped judge, and she goes, Brandon, I can honestly say that I'm so happy that you're working with somebody that is going to let you, use you to the best of your ability and let you do it. And me and T, like, we started off just as coaches and like colleagues, but this is one of my good friends. I love her to death. We call each other now and gossip about everything. Like, when we don't see each other, it feels weird. We're like, oh, I miss you. But no.
6th period, I'm like, are you here today? Did you take a day off?
But no, seriously, it's just been a great experience just here working with everybody at Nicoa, working with this team. It's honestly been so rewarding. It's been my life, and it never a dull day. I never came to practice not wanting to be here and work with these kids. And I wanted to make it up for T2 because I know she's been here so long, and she told me about the year she had, and I go, I can do. She goes, Brandon, like, some days I would contemplate and just like not coming back because it was just so bad last year with how the kids were, and I said, I just wanted to, she deserves it. Like, T does a lot. You have no idea what she does behind the scenes for these kids. Seriously. I could never do, I always say I can never do what she does for these kids, running back and forth around school, teaching class, and she makes it look so easy. I'm like, oh my God, all I do is say 5, 6, 7, 8. And, no, but seriously, T does so much, and she takes so much out of her personal life to do this. It's just crazy. I knew this team was going to be successful at the school pep rally. We had the school pep rally right before the Wabanzi-Nico game, and they went out there, and the response they got from the school body, a lot of them who had been cheering here 3 or 4 years said we never got the response before, and they went out there and gave such a good show. I knew we would be successful when we went to camp, and we had 22 people, and 14 got nominated for the All-American title, and 9 of them actually got it. And we walked away with the highest All-American, which was Tina at camp. She got the highest All-American.
And the most out of any.
And we had the most All-American people out of any school, reigning national champs. I mean, I knew we would be successful I just knew it. I knew we could do it. When we were in 5th, we went back to the hotel, and I knew the kids were devastated. They were trying to fake it, but I'm like, you guys are down. I can tell in your spirits that you're down. So I got them all in my room. I go, if you guys get defeated by this and let this defeat you and you guys start beating up each other, I go, it's never gonna work. I go, you think those girls at Providence are over there beating up each other? I go, they're in 2nd place right now. I go, they're over there, they're over at their hotel holding hands, singing Kumbaya. So we got in a big circle in my room and we held hands and said kumbaya.
And ankles.
And Danny didn't have a hand to hold, so Danny held my ankle. No, but I go, we can do this. I go, we're in the best advantage. I go, we're in 5th place. I go, it's harder to stay top 3 and keep that pressure than to go in 5th. I go, I know one thing. We're in 5th place right now. That's true. I go, I know, but we're the most consistent team in our division. That's all I can say. I go, I don't know about any other team there, but I go, I know that my kids are going to go out there and hit. And if you guys go, I go, we never went in the competition saying, you got to get 1st place. You got to beat this team. I go, our only goal is to what? Hit. Our only goal is to what? Hit. If you hit, the rest will pay off. And they hit every competition. They went both days of state and had no deductions. And they rocked it, and it paid off for them. Some people who don't get, like, why we're so excited about 2nd, but we made history for our school, and we couldn't have been prouder. Six straight wins right in a row. 6 straight wins in a row. We had back-to-back conference champs for the school, back-to-back sectional champs. We got 2 grand championship titles, and they beat the reigning state champion at the time, which was Providence. They beat them twice. So I think that's huge. We beat Sandburg, who was undefeated. When we went against Sandburg, they were undefeated, and so were we. So that was the talk of the town. Who's going to be not undefeated? And we beat Sandburg, and after that, we stayed undefeated, and they kind of went down. But no, seriously, these kids, they take it and they take this, like, they've been getting a lot of attention, but they take it and it means a lot to them. They have not been big-headed or cocky. They're confident in their skills, but they're humble about it. And I can honestly say this means the world to them. We walked in Saturday, and we got there right when there was the Medium Awards, and the girls were in the stand. Sorry, man, I know. The team was in the stands watching the awards while they were doing the podium ceremony for the medium teams, and me and T were in the coach's room, and I look over it, and I'm just like, T, are you crying? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, what's wrong, T? She's like, we are not a 5th place team. My seniors deserve to be on that podium. And I agree with her. We have 8 seniors, and all 8 of them, we have 3 captains, but all 8 of our seniors were leaders to this team. And every person on this team looked up to our seniors. They were a big impact on our leadership, and they carried us all the way. And with good the underclassmen wanted to do it for the seniors, and that was huge for them. Getting 2nd was just the best thing, and I know it's going to change our program forever. I know that kids are going to want to come, and they're not going to second guess whether I want to do All-Star or NEQA. They're going to want to cheer at NEQA because they know we're going to be successful. We're not going down. In our music, it says we were kind of flirting with the big dogs, and NEQA's the big dog now. When we go in, they know NEQA's going to come and kill it, and it's going to stay like that. And I know next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that, we'll be a top dog, and I'm just so proud of these kids, honestly, and I couldn't thank all of you guys enough for trusting us.
So I'm just going to touch back a little bit more about being humble. I mean, you guys were all there every single competition with us. Every time they got to like the top 3, then the top 2, and we still weren't announced. I mean, I don't think there was a team ever more shocked to get 1st place than we were every single time. Or a bigger celebration for 2nd place at state. I mean, they actually had to announce at the Coliseum. I think Neuqua Valley needs a moment to compose themselves before they get up on here. You know, some people ask us like, oh, are you guys disappointed? No, this is the best thing that ever happened to us. 2nd place, this is great. But that just kind of goes. Like, they've just been so humble along the way, and they've been so nice to other teams. I think the biggest thing for me was just some random people, other coaches that would just stop and just say, what a great group of kids you have. They're so polite. They're so nice. They're so encouraging to other teams. Even at the end of the weekend, there was someone tweeted out something like, Neuqua, they went from 10th to 2nd place in 1 year. They should be an inspiration to all the other teams. And I know when Brandon and I coach, we always bring up, well, what do you think Providence is doing there? They're not doing this, or Sandburg's doing this. Every single coach is going to be using Neuqua as an example next year at their practices. And that just pays off for all of their hard work. And we just kept telling them, you work hard at practice, you're going to pick up the trophy at state. And that's how it was. And I think that's part of the why we were kind of getting upset. We're like, oh, 5th place, and they're calling all the medium teams. We kind of felt like if they didn't get on that podium, we almost would have felt like we lied to them, because they did their part. They worked hard every single practice. They loved coming to practice. Usually, I sometimes have to be like, no, don't be putting anything on Facebook about not liking practice. We love each other. But these guys, like, they actually did. Like, half the time, we were like, okay, Mondays are going to be a rough practice because they haven't seen each other for a day. So they're going to need to catch up. They loved coming to practice, even on the bus ride home from state. They were like, can we practice? I'm like, well, luckily you have a game on Monday. So I just kind of picked up, and then we've got this, and now they're like, well, what are we going to do until next week, until we have a game? Should we have a practice? Like, what do you guys want to practice? But they just never stopped working. And, I mean, many of you guys saw them, even day 2, when we woke up and they were moving the furniture around the hotel room. Brandon and I sat there, okay, if we think we need to focus on this section. But it was them coming up with the suggestions and teaching each other, hey, I do this with my ankle to make this, or I do, I go down like this to make it look more sharp. I do this. So they were the ones fixing the problems and coming up with their own solutions, and we just kind of sat back and counted it out for them, and it worked. There was no doubt in their minds that when they walked into that Coliseum that they were getting on the podium. I was a little nervous that maybe Miss Barrows was going to be, oh, they're in 5th. So I sent her a text and I said, I know we're in 5th, but I'm just letting you know these kids are not giving up. Make sure you have your best outfit on. They're getting on the podium today. And her response was like, that's the Wildcat attitude to have. But there was not a doubt in their mind that they were going to be walking out of there without a trophy. Nothing was going to stop them. Going first, going last, it didn't matter. And I mean, when they were performing, we couldn't have asked for a better performance from them. That was just amazing. I think we all have to give Brandon a big round of applause. I mean, he's just been such a positive influence, breath of fresh air. I mean, just his analogies with things, he may be telling them to jump higher, but he's got them laughing, but then they jump higher for him because they don't want to be called whatever animal he's calling them that day or whatever at practice.
A banshee.
A banshee. Like, half the stuff we're like, Brandon, we don't even know what that means. But they kind of laugh it off and just get it done. So we just can't thank you enough for just the positive attitude. He starts off every morning, 5:55 a.m., he's sending us some sort of inspirational message for the day, and Lord heaven, he doesn't send us one. Then by 8 o'clock, someone's like, is Brandon sick? Is Brandon not here? How come we don't have a message? Then I think he was kind of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't send one every day, and they were like, no, you need to send one every single day. That's what gets us through the day. And that kind of fed up the girls, and Matt kind of fed off of that. Then before you know it, they were bringing their own inspirational quotes to practice or coming up with their own thing, I think one of my favorite ones is when Lauren was telling the team, like, you guys, we just need to push. Your mind is stronger than your body. And then Addie was like, yeah, my knees hurt all the time. But when I get in that corner and it's time to tumble, I think to myself, you're lying. Your knees don't hurt. Just go. And bam, she just trucks it. Whatever tumbling pass it is. And then finally, girls and Matt, I think you guys owe your parents a huge round of applause. I mean, you guys this year have been phenomenal. We've had so many big ticket items that we were getting. We wanted new uniforms, we wanted a new floor, and all the fundraising, the driving around, the practice. You guys are just attendance was always awesome. You guys booked all of their appointments outside of practice time, so we really couldn't have done it without you guys. The locker decorations, getting ponchos for when it was raining outside. Just everything, helping with pasta parties, holiday parties, all of that stuff. You guys really make our lives so much easier. So we just appreciate you guys and all the time and effort that you guys put into helping us and making this such a memorable year for the girls and Matt. You want to do them by class? Okay. Oh my God. Liam, coming up here, buddy. Yes, this has been our good luck charm all year long. Liam comes to practice when he can come to practice. He's at almost every single competition unless he's got his own game. Liam kind of came up to Brandon and I one of the football games. He's like, oh, can I try cheering with you guys? And we're like, yeah, sure, come on out there. I think the next quarter he was telling us that this was the best thing he's ever done. That this was just meant for him. And so ever since then, we got him the other male uniform top, and he was out there every single football game with us. They're good luck charm during competition season. Always sat in the middle. He would come to practice. He'd tell them, sometimes you guys need to smile more, be a little louder, you know. But he was their #1 fan. So Liam, we want to thank you for all of your hard work this year. We're going to introduce them all one by one, but we're going to do it by grade level. So we're going to go ahead and start with our freshmen. Kayla Goldberg. Stand up. Addie Lacewell. Nicole Nance. Where are the other ones? Oh, Abby Wolnick. I can't see. Claire Hildeman. Brooke Kimmons. I got them all. Yeah. What do you always say about our freshmen? You call them the rookies.
The rookies. Well, this was the freshmen matched our seniors and the freshmen came in and they were like gun ho, like we can take anything. They were just like our rookies. I say matched. This is what made us good. Our 22nd person matched our #1 person, and they were equal and they came together. But like Addie, I tell you, like she would come in, you would think, I was scared of Addie some days at practice. I'm like, Addie, yeah, Brandon. I'm like, Addie, you gotta smile more. Okay, Brandon, just wait the competition. But no, seriously, like our freshmen came in and they weren't just like, oh, I'm gonna sit back, I'm a freshman. They would come in, like a girl would be crying and Addie would be like, get it together. You guys, like one day we were just bombing at practice and Addie stands up, you guys need to get it together. No, but our freshmen came in and they were just awesome. So we just want to say,
Claire.
Oh, and Claire, we call Claire Sister Femur. Claire had a huge, Claire had our biggest upset. She broke her femur the day before camp. And literally, we had 10 minutes before practice ended, and she broke her femur during the full. And Claire is at the hospital like, okay, T, who's my roommate for camp?
Yeah, me and her mom are sitting there, we're both like, oh, we're not the right people to be here because we're both kind of squeamish about stuff. She's like still thinking she's going to camp in a few hours. I'm like, sweetie, I don't remember who your roommate is.
And Claire was back and ready. She had surgery, and she's back and ready. And I know her mom's getting emotional now, but we're just so proud that Claire was back. We thought we lost Claire for the season, and she had her surgery, she did her therapy, and she came back and she worked her tail off to get back on that mat. So we honestly, our freshmen were just so hard working. We thank them so much for it.
All right, our sophomores. Peyton Domschke. Sarah Strack. Sully Perry. And Madeline Landino. Tell them about their machine. The sophomore machine.
So when we got back from winter break, they were a little rusty from practice, so we just took time out of practice. We played a game. So the sophomores were like, there's only... they were like, there's only 4 of us. What type of machine we're going to play? I go, well, I'll help you guys out. So we came up, and the sophomores... Come on, sophomores, get in front right here.
No, you guys have...
I squat.
You squat.
You have to guess what machine they are.
Squat in these heels. No, stand.
They were a spray tan machine. The sophomores, honestly, Solely last year, Solely started cheering last year, and she was on JV actually last year, and me and T saw a lot of potential at our clinics. And I know Peyton really touched me at state. She goes, last year, this means a lot to me. She goes, last year I didn't get a chance to walk the floor. I was just an alternate brain. And she was like, I'm just so thankful to be on this floor. Like these sophomores, the four of them, honestly, Sarah Strack tumbled every main section in our routine. Maddie.
After she had a mental block last year tumbling.
Yeah, T said Sarah would not tumble on the hard floor. She would not twist at all. And she came back and she was one of our main tumblers this year. Right away. And Maddie pushed through every injury, knee, ankle, and she was so determined. Every practice, on every break, I would go say, go get a water break. Maddie's throwing 5 stand and tucks the rest of the team's go and get a water break. But these girls, these four, were such a big part of our team, and we just want to say we're so thankful for you guys.
Our juniors, Marissa Brown, Courtney Andrew, Libby Rosinski, and Lauren Mulcahy.
Okay, well, these crazy juniors, they're crazy. Honestly, one of the things that made me proud as a coach, I know Marissa Brown struggled with a back injury. How long ago, Marissa? When was your injury?
All of last year?
All of last year.
Well, I got surgery after freshman year.
Yeah, and I know I didn't know Marissa as an athlete, and when we came to the clinics, T was like, Rita, I don't care what you say, Marissa Brown, she brings something to the team that nobody brings. When we're all down, Marissa is going to keep us up. Marissa always finds some way to make us laugh at practice. And Marissa, I want to say, honestly, we couldn't do it without your spirit. You got us through. Libby, Courtney, and Lauren they're all perfectionists. They're psychos, but they're hardworking. They were in every main section of our routine. Lauren was determined to get her full this year and throw it on the hard floor, and she did.
So did Courtney.
Courtney had never she didn't throw her full because we couldn't use it. She changed her technique and she worked really hard to get her full on the hard floor and clean it up, and she did. And I remember Courtney when she walked in, when I walked in and I met her, she got kind of scared. She was like, I'm not tiny like the other girls. And Courtney is one of our main flyers, and she rocked the air this year. Libby got hurt after winter break and pushed through a MCL strain, Libby. And Libby is one of our best bases, one of our great tumblers. And Libby, we would say thank you for pushing through that injury, even though we know it was hurting, Libby. These four are going to be, they were great leaders this year, and we know you guys are going to be even greater leaders next year. Thank you.
And finally, our singers, Matt Kaufman, Danny Kukuzian, Megan Ballou, Haley Eckstein, Alex Farrelly, Logan White, Tina Pavola, and Callie Kaiser. You guys, just the leadership that we got from this group this year was just unbelievable. We could be walking into practice, and it's 2 minutes before practice actually starts. They're all there already, and they've already have them running around, stretching. I mean, by the time we walked in, they were already ready to go, ready to stunt or tumble, whatever it was, because these guys were just always they got them going, but they did it in such a positive way that no one ever thought they were being mean or things like that. My dad, as most of you guys know, biggest Wildcat fan cheerleader fan there is this year, calls me Sunday the day after state. I don't answer, 3 missed calls from him, so I finally call him back Monday. First question, how many singers are you losing? I tell him 8. He's like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's half the team. So he's already stressed about what's going to happen next year because we're losing so many seniors.
The seniors, when we had to choose captains, the girls started crying because they didn't want to disappoint any of the seniors because it was so hard. That's how great each and all 8 of these guys are. They all contributed to this team in such an enormous way. We had 3 captains, Haley, Alex, and Megan Ballou. And they never took that role to their heads, and they let everyone help out. These seniors, honestly, I know T's coached a lot of them. How many did you coach for 4 years, T?
3.
She coached Tina and Haley and Alex for all 4 years, and honestly, these guys have stepped up tremendously. They all made a vow to never be like the seniors that they had last year, and they wanted to make this team positive. And all 8, I knew all 8 of these seniors were a big impact on our team. The day we chose captains, the team sat and cried. The juniors, the sophomores, and freshmen cried because they said, honestly, all 8 can be our captains. And that's honestly the truth. Seniors, you were great. I know this meant a lot to you guys, and honestly, me and T are so happy that you guys got to walk across that podium and make history for your school.
And with this group, they didn't stop. Yes, the team picked captains, but everybody stepped up to the plate. So it wasn't just, okay, well, now they've got 3 captains, so I'm not going to do anything else. I mean, that kind of, okay, we have captains, but all the other seniors stepped up and were just as important as everybody else.
I agree.
All right. Anybody else talking?
Do we sit?
Yeah, you guys can sit.
I'm definitely not going to compete with what just happened here, so. Very kind words, and thank you, coaches. I appreciate all the thoughtfulness that you put into recognizing our student athletes tonight. Without further ado, I just want to give you all an opportunity to take pictures tonight. So we have the trophy here. We have the sectional plaque in the back. So if you want to take pictures with your peers or as team, parents feel free to do so. We also invite you to some punch or some water and cookies in the back to socialize for a little bit longer. Again, thank you all for your support. We truly mean it, and we need your continued support in the future. And I have great confidence that our juniors, sophomores, and freshmen are going to lead the way for next year. So, thank you very much.